Oh hi, I'm Pat. I'm not an electrician. And welcome back to my YouTube channel. On this video, I'm gonna do something that I've never done before. I know, you saw it in the title. I'm going to be restoring our antique brass chandeliers from our dining room. So keep watching, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can get notified every time I upload a brand new video. All right, roll the intro and we'll jump right into restoring these antique chandeliers. From this into this. So the first thing I had to do, obviously, was turn off the power. Anytime you're going to be doing any electrical work, you want to make sure you turn the power off so that you don't get electrocuted. I have had my fair share of electrocutions. Not with this project, but in the past. Anyhow, I did not film getting on a ladder and disconnecting the electrical because it would have been very difficult to coordinate that. But I obviously took down the chandeliers from the ceiling and then I had to take them apart. In the dining room, we have two chandeliers. So I took the first one down and took it apart and polished it and cleaned it and put it back together and put it back up before I started working on the second one. The second one is the one that I filmed. The first one I went very slowly because I didn't want to break anything. I wasn't sure if things were delicate, how hard to press and push and polish. But once I knew how much force I could or couldn't use, it made working on the second one a lot faster. So the first thing I did was take it down from the ceiling and then I had to take it all apart. So as you can see in the video, I had to take all the little screws out and pull the wiring apart. And so I made sure to mark the wires as I was taking this apart because the wires that were used to wire the lights were clear. The electrical wire is clear, so it doesn't indicate anywhere on it if it's positive or negative or how to wire it back together. So I made a point to mark those before I took them apart. And then when I put it back together, it was really easy for me to reconnect the connections that were previously connected. I'm not an electrician, so I wanted to make sure that I got this right so that they still worked at the end, and they do work, so I did that correctly. After I took everything apart, I started by giving everything a quick wash with soap and water just to remove any dust and surface dirt. Following that, I used Barkeeper's Friend to remove the surface dirt and tarnish because it's slightly abrasive, so you don't want to push very hard with that, but you want to use that to take the surface layer of dirt off. And I tried a couple of different methods because I had a lot of different pieces to test this on, and I found that using the Barkeeper's Friend first and then from there using the Brasso to really take the actual tarnish off was a good method. So that worked well for this project. Now, as you can see, I spent many hours taking this apart and cleaning it using a toothbrush, and that seemed to be the most effective way to get in all the little nooks and crannies. It took about 3 sessions of cleaning on each piece. First you use the soap and water and then use the Barkeeper's Friend. Once you're finished with the Barkeeper's Friend, apply the Brasso and let it sit for a few minutes, and that will really start to take the tarnish off. You can use a paper towel or a cloth to rub the Brasso on any spots that are really tarnished. And you can see in the video, I did that, and then I would rinse it off and then go back in with another layer of Brasso because there was a lot of built up tarnish from a lot of years of dirt and debris and not being cleaned. Okay, so I am just polishing those original pieces with the Brasso now to get the tarnish off and get them looking really nice. And then I will start cleaning these ones. This is a bit of a process, it takes a little while, and sometimes you really have to scrub around the edges, but this Brasso stuff is great. It really will eat away the grime. So just put a little bit on and then use the toothbrush and let it sit for a moment and scrub at it and rub at it, and then it gets really nice and sparkly clean. So we'll just There's just a little bit of tarnish left on this one, even after a couple of goes at it. So we just keep working away at it. It's a bit of a slow process, but it's very rewarding. As you can see, these pieces are so shiny now. Yep, so Barkeeper's Friend and Brasso, and a lot of polishing with a toothbrush, and I scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed, and after a couple of days of working on all the little pieces, I managed to get it all polished up and looking sparkly new. Once I was done cleaning the brass, it was time to put the chandeliers back together. So I started to put the metal pieces back together very carefully, making sure not to damage anything. And the way that the chandelier is set up, I had to put the metal back together before running the wires through because there was a lot of twisting going on. And so it took me a couple of tries to get the right method of running the wires through all the different chains and into the right places. But I did get it put all back together, and then it was time to put them back on the ceiling. Now, traditionally in Victorian homes, I believe they had plaster medallions on the ceiling above the chandeliers as sort of a decorative element. So I looked online for a long time at a lot of different options, and I found some that I really liked that had gold detailing that I felt sort of matched the aesthetic and the details on the chandeliers. The chandeliers have little grape vines, grape leaves, and grape clusters, so I thought the pattern that's on the medallions on the ceiling kind of looked like grape leaves and that they would match. So I'm really happy how those turned out. So I mounted those on the ceiling first, and then I rewired the chandelier into the ceiling, and it was all finished. So I tested the light after I turned the power back on, and luckily everything still works. So I took the chandelier from old and grimy to new and shiny. Anyways, it was just a lot of days of cleaning and polishing, and that's how I restored those antique lamps. Now looking back at it, I think I could have taken it one step further, and I could have actually rewired the lights. So if I were to take them down to do this again, I would maybe replace the electrical wiring because I know it's probably about as old as the lights themselves. Thank you for watching how to clean and restore antique brass chandeliers. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can get notified every time I upload a brand new video. And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. The links are in the description down below. And I'll see you for another video next time. Bye.